Once upon a time, in a kingdom surrounded by tall mountains and deep forests, there lived a kind and beautiful princess named Snow White. Her skin was as white as snow, her lips as red as a rose, and her hair as black as ebony. Everyone in the kingdom loved her for her gentle nature and warm heart. Snow White lived with her stepmother, the queen, who was proud and cruel. Every day the queen asked her magic mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" The mirror always replied that the queen was the fairest. But as Snow White grew older, her beauty and kindness shone brighter than ever. One day the mirror answered, "Snow White is the fairest of them all." Filled with jealousy and anger, the queen decided to get rid of Snow White. She ordered a huntsman to take the princess into the forest and kill her. However, when the time came, the huntsman could not harm such an innocent girl. He told Snow White to run far away and never return, crying but grateful, Snow. For hours, she found a small cottage. Inside, everything was tiny chairs, tiny beds and tiny plates. Tired and hungry, Snow White ate a little food and fell asleep on one of the beds. That evening the owners of the cottage returned. They were 7 after wandering offs who worked in a nearby mine. At first they were surprised, but when Snow White woke up and told her story, they felt sorry for her. They invited her to stay with them, and soon she became part of their family, cooking, cleaning, and filling the cottage with joy. Meanwhile, the queen discovered from her mirror that Snow White was still alive. Disguising herself as an old woman, she went to the cottage and offered Snow White a shiny red apple. Though the dwarfs had warned her not to talk to strangers, Snow White trusted the old woman and took a bite. The apple was poisoned, and Snow White fell into a deep sleep. When the dwarfs returned and found Snow White lying still, they were heartbroken, believing she was dead. They placed her in a glass coffin in the forest. One day, a prince who had heard of Snow White's beauty and kindness came across the coffin. As he looked at her, the piece of poisoned apple fell from her mouth, and Snow White woke up. The queen was later punished for her evil deeds, and peace returned to the kingdom. Snow White and the prince were married, and they ruled with kindness and fairness. Snow White never forgot the dwarfs, and they remained her dear friends forever.